And very pleased to have with us on the program from the Independence Institute, Mr. Dave Kopel. Dave, how you doing, sir?
Good. How about you?
I'm very, very good. Glad you could join us today. And, we've been talking a lot about what's going on out in Colorado. The 4 bills that passed the Colorado House, most of them with pretty close votes. I mean, one of them was actually a 1-vote margin. But the vote and the bill that's been getting a lot of attention, not the magazine ban, not the background checks, the campus carry ban, which, Dave, I'm thinking here, I don't recall a restriction on the right to carry passing and becoming law in any state over, let's say, the past decade. I mean, we've seen the expansion of right to carry, but Colorado, if this bill were to become law, I think would be the first state to actually go back and restrict the right to carry.
That is true. That is true, and that's what makes Michael Bloomberg and Barack Obama and Joe Biden and all the rest of the gun ban crowd especially excited. That's why Joe Biden was lobbying by telephone for votes on this.
Yeah, and again, that vote 34-31, you had lawmakers make the case that, look, women don't need a firearm for self-defense. They can, they can learn judo, or they got the buddy system. One lawmaker said, women may think they're about to be raped and try to shoot somebody, and that person wasn't going to try to rape them. So everybody's just better off, these women included, by not having a gun, right?
That's exactly right.
So here's the follow-up question, Dave, and I'm kind of surprised that no members of the Colorado media have asked Representative Salazar or anybody else about this. If that really is what they believe, then they must be opposed to concealed carry off of college campuses too, because it's the same woman.
Yes, of course, and virtually all the arguments offered by Representative Salazar, by Representative Claire Levy, who sponsored the bill, and the people who spoke in favor of it, everything 95% of what they said applies just as much off campus as well. No, they're plainly opposed to citizens carrying firearms at all. It's just that they apparently thought that might be a little too much of a political stretch to wipe out licensed carry entirely.
So, and again, I think this is very disingenuous on the part of the gun control advocates who say we're not trying to ban your guns. We're trying to do everything within the bounds of the Second Amendment, rather than simply say we're trying to get what we can now. We'll be back for more later.
Well, is that not the way it's always been?
I suppose it is, but boy, you got to be kind of... at this point, if you don't realize and you don't recognize what is happening here, you must be one of those low information voters. Now, you've actually testified before the Colorado House. I mean, what has that experience been like?
Well, I haven't testified much this year. I've certainly testified a lot in the past. I mean, I was actually following the House proceedings, but it was well known that these were sent to the appropriate stacked committees, and it was just not going, the committees were not particularly interested in information about ways they can improve the bill or how they can make up their mind in the bill.
Okay. We've seen, not just in Colorado, Dave, but around the country, some of these lawmakers, they're playing video games, they're, looking at their Facebook page, whatever, while folks are testifying. And I know that that's disheartening for gun owners out there because, I'm telling them every day, hey, contact your legislators, send them emails, call them up, let them know how you feel. And then again, we're seeing these lawmakers who just don't seem to give a rip at all. Is that the norm, or is that the aberration, these lawmakers who just don't want to listen to their constituents?
Oh, I think it's an aberration in Colorado. I think in general, Colorado committee hearings are a lot better than federal ones, which tend to be mostly theatrical. No, these are in general. Colorado legislators listen to you, and sometimes they'll change their mind. It does have Colorado is better governed than the United States Congress.
And so to that end, I mean, since this vote, I have not heard, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I haven't heard of cheering or parades in the streets celebrating the brave votes of these Colorado House members who voted to enact gun control. In fact, I mean, I seem to be hearing the opposite. There are a ton of fired up Coloradans who are now talking to their state senators about why they should not follow along with what the House has done.
Indeed, but the House is stacked as well. So this is the fight on this is to make marginal improvements in these bills, which the President of the United States very much wants to pass, so that he can use Colorado as an example of a Western state passing anti-gun laws, and he can try to promote anti-gun laws all over the country as well as federally. But it's going to be up to Colorado voters in 2014 to see if they want to continue with a legislature that is so hostile to citizens' rights.
And I'm kind of curious, Dave. I mean, out there in Colorado, voters there just approved in November a state law that legalizes marijuana for recreational use, which puts them in direct conflict with federal law.
Not
right?
exactly in conflict with federal law. It's the federal law still is what it is. It's just that Colorado has gotten out of the business of persecuting people for marijuana use.
Okay, so they're not going to be going after anybody, but the federal law remains the federal law.
Correct.
Okay, and there's been a great deal of confusion about how this is going to work. Is the DOJ going to come in and start prosecuting people? It seems to me, Dave. I mean, have you heard any localities in Colorado? Does Colorado have firearms preemption law?
Very weakly.
Very weakly. So could this cut the other way? Have you heard of any municipalities who have said, we'll pass ordinances that will allow this sort of stuff?
Well, there have been plenty of, and obviously they can't do that. But what they can do is, in practice, but what they're certainly doing is you've had a number of county commissioners and sheriffs say, we intend, if these laws pass, we will refuse to enforce them.
At the federal or at the state level?
Both.
Really? I mean, we've talked with the sheriff of Los Animas County about the position paper that the was it the Association of Colorado County Sheriffs?
County Sheriffs of Colorado, all 62 elected county sheriffs, and Democrats and Republicans, unanimous and bipartisan.
Yeah, and they've said no new gun control laws, and it seems like they're very serious about this. So is Colorado?
And not all of them have said they'll refuse to enforce anything. Some have, but they've all said unanimously they think the legislature should not pass any new anti-gun laws. And obviously usually they're a pretty influential lobby in the legislature, but here they were just completely ignored. I mean, it wasn't a question of people coming to them and saying, well, can we address some concerns? How can we make this better? This is just a total cram down from the Michael Bloomberg lobby. I mean, that's the lobby out here that's doing this, illegal mayors against guns.
Right. Yeah. Well, and again, the People's Lobby speaks next year, and can certainly again speak to their state senators now, even if it looks like the fix is in.
Absolutely, and it's very important to do that. I mean, it's important that the senators see the problems that they're causing, the resistance, and that may help narrow the margin on some of these or result in improvements in some of these bills.
Well, no, absolutely. And again, going back to these sheriffs and what these sheriffs and some of these county officials have said, it seems like Colorado, Dave, is going to be, I think Illinois is going to be a huge battleground state this year because of the fight for right to carry and how that's going to play out legislatively. But it sure seems like Colorado is going to be a big battleground state as well in terms of the fallout. Let's say these bills go through. Governor Hickenlooper signs these bills. Colorado may be one of the first, sort of purple states where we actually see what the reaction is by the people to this power grab.
That's what we're going to have to do. 2014 is going to be an extremely important election all over the country, and but even more so in Colorado.
All right. Well, listen, Dave, thank you very much for your time today. Great talking to you. And you guys are still holding the ATF party this summer, right?
We're going to, as long as we still can. Absolutely. We're going to live it up before they take all of our freedom away.
All right. Dave Kopel, Research Director of the Independence Institute, join us here on Cam and Company.